All right, good morning, everyone. Let's get started. I call the Northwest Suburbs Cable Communications Commission to order for November 16th, 2023 at 7:30 a.m. First item, roll call. Looks like we have a quorum this morning. Second item, consent agenda items. Any questions or comments? Otherwise, I look for a motion to approve. Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, presentation of investment report, Bjorn Miller.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Do you guys have a report of the investments handouts?
Yes, it's in the packet.
Perfect. I was just going to go over the portfolio appraisal first and just kind of run through a quick update on each investment that you have with us. And again, I'm Bjorn Miller. We're with North Oaks Financial. We've had the pleasure of working with you guys for many years now. The first fund that you're invested in is the Blue Rock Toll Income Fund. This is a real estate investment, primarily in the apartment and industrial sector. Fortunately, it doesn't have much allocation to the office space, which, as you know, has suffered this year or the past few years due to COVID. This is the first year that the return is negative in the last 10 years. I think it's just due to rising interest rates. So it's something we're closely watching, but it's still producing a yield about 5.25%. You guys have a number of structured products with us. Most of these are FDIC insured and 100% guaranteed. So your initial investment is guaranteed. The market value may show a negative value because it's marked to market and shows you the price if you were to sell today early rather than holding it to term. So as long as you hold it to the term, and there's a due date on each one, some of them are 5-year, 4-year, 3-year, and 2-year. You'll get the full principal and a possible upside depending on the index. Of course, the stock market has been, struggling to recover this year, and we're coming off of a bad year last year. So hopefully, we see some positive territory, but at least these are FDIC insured and fully guaranteed. With the exception of the JP Morgan, there is one 3-year fund that is 95% guaranteed. So that one could see a 5% loss. Lastly, we have 2 large positions in a money market fund. These are paying 4.96 yield and a 5% yield. Those do change daily. We're probably seeing a peak of rates. I'll kind of go over a short market update here as well on the fixed income markets. But I'll stop there if you guys have any questions about the investments.
Any questions?
Great. So if you want to move forward to the first slide. This is just a reminder of the FDIC insurance. If you could just go to the next slide. Corporations at each bank, you are insured up to $250,000. So, our recommendation is to spread out funds just to make sure you don't go over that FDIC insurance, just for that extra protection. We did see a few bank failures last year, and it's just something to watch for. At LPL Financial, the any cash is insured actually to $1.5 million. We do spread out the cash to about 12 banks to take advantage of higher FDIC insurance. If you could go to the next slide. Perfect. All right. So just a short little update. This is pretty recent. This is third quarter numbers. And there's a great index tracking the bond market. It's called the MOVE Index. When you see this index above 100, that's typically higher rates for a longer period of time. Of course, this year rates have moved up pretty quickly, and it's a great time to take advantage of higher interest rates, not only short term, but we're also looking long term. When rates are above 5%, we're anticipating rates come down a little bit next year. Now is kind of the time to lock in that long term rates. Next slide, I'll just briefly go over this. As interest rates move up and down, this kind of shows the effect of how interest rates move. A lot there, but basically the short summary of that is the longer term you are, the more effective the rate is. And if that rate moves down, actually the prices go up because those old rates are more attractive than the new rates that are lower. So we saw the bond market fall last year because rates went up, which affected old bonds that people really didn't want anymore because their rates were lower. So that's why that price went down last year. Next slide. So watching the CD market, we've seen a quick shot up on interest rates on CDs. We're probably anticipating this is the peak on CDs. We're actually seeing CD rates go down. So now is kind of the time to look at long term. And the last slide. And this slide is just about is the U.S. debt an issue? It's just a top question that we get a lot. And actually, historically looking, U.S. debt has actually been lower as a percent of GDP, just because of lower interest rates that we've had the last 10 years. So that could change, and the projection is that interest payments to our debt, or $33 trillion, will increase as a percentage of GDP, but not higher than it was in the 90s and 80s. So we think it's manageable at the time. So that's all I had, but if you guys had any questions, I'm happy to answer, be a resource to you guys.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, we'll look for a motion to accept the investment report.
Thank you.
Do I have a second? Motion and seconded. Any further discussion? Otherwise, all in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion approved. And on to the next item, approval of the budget. Shannon.
All right, thank you, Riley. You have a copy of the Commission's 2024 budget in your packet, and the budget was presented and reviewed at the September general meeting. It was also reviewed by the Executive Committee in their meeting that was immediately following that one in September. Nothing was changed. There are no capital improvements in the budget, and the main expenditure for the Commission is funding CCX Media and Capital City grants. So the Executive Committee recommends approval of the 2024 budget with no changes, and staff recommends approval as well.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll look for a motion to approve the budget.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Otherwise, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Information items, legal and legislation update. Mr. Bradley.
Good evening, good morning, everybody. My report is in your packet. Just wanted to point out a couple of things. One, we mentioned that the digital discrimination order was being released by the FCC, or being voted on by the FCC yesterday. That vote did occur. It passed 3-2. In the draft order that the FCC released ahead of that meeting, they cited your comments I think 20 times, and quoted them, I think 4 or 5, 6 times maybe. So you were really heard in that proceeding, and I think some really good things will come out of it. We'll see what the final report and order says. We'll we should get that within the next month or so, and then we'll put together a short summary so you can see exactly what the final rules say. But we summarize some of the high-level talking points in our legal report. One other item that I wanted to bring to your attention was an update yesterday by the Office of Broadband Development. They gave an update on their digital opportunity plan. And if you'll remember, this commission participated in that process to bring forward that digital opportunity plan. Some of the things that we raised, they called tricky topics. And that was kind of a nice way of saying we're not going to address it in the digital opportunity plan, but we're interested in continuing the conversation, which I'm sure we'll do. But one thing that they did do that I think is really positive for this commission is they have agreed to put in an eligibility for all PEG entities in Minnesota for future grants, digital opportunity grants. So they're called capacity grants, and the capacity grants will come in, we believe, sometime mid to late 2024, to the tune of about $20 to $25 million. And the state will be looking, and the Office of Broadband Development will be looking at grant applications and such. So remember that you received a grant to participate in the Digital Opportunity Plan. So it's a really, it may be a nice opportunity for the commission. The Office of Broadband Development recognize the importance of what you do here, and especially bringing local government to the citizens, and also recognizing that we're not doing it just by cable anymore, we're also doing it by streaming, and I think that was a key consideration for the Office of Broadband Development to include PEG entities as future grant recipients. So I think that's some good news to report to you. Anyway, that's my report. Happy to take any of your questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, moving on. Communications, Shannon.
Yes, 2 informational items to pass along to you. We received notice from Comcast about a change to Xfinity TV services. They will no longer carry Shop HQ on their channel lineup. That contract expired in early November. So just wanted to let you know about that. And then also we do have a vacancy on the commission. Commissioner Sheila Webb resigned from her position on the Robbinsdale City Council, therefore resigning from the commission as well. So I've spoken with the city manager, and they will be discussing next steps coming up in a work session. But I wanted to let you know about that vacancy. Sheila Webb served since February, and we do appreciate the time she spent with us. And that is all.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll move on. Any other items to come before the commission this morning? See nothing, moving on to adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor? All those opposed? You're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, we'll just go right ahead and move into the CCX Media Board of Directors meeting. Today's Thursday, November 16th. Roll call has already been taken. Next agenda item is consent items. Looking for approval on the consent items. Looking for a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion, a second.
Second.
All right, motion and second. Is any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Perfect, motion passes. Next agenda item, under action items, recognition of Paul Nato. Shannon?
Yes, let me find that. Paul Nato has been our Create volunteer, and he has done just a fantastic job on the board for the last 2 years. He has indicated he does not wish to run again, so we wanted to recognize him. This is a photo from one of the many shows that he produces in Create, and this is from Speedy and Spitz Garage. He also produces Havoc, a comedy variety show, Rosie's on the Beach, Da Frozen Ohana, and Veteran Stories. Mr. Nato is one of 2 positions on the board of directors that are reserved for CCX Create volunteers. There is an election going on, and we do have 2 very worthy candidates in the audience kind of getting ready for board service, and that election will wind down at the end of the week. and then we will have a new board member in February. So I want to say thank you to Mr. Nato.
Great. Moving on, next item, resolution accepting donations to CCX Media, resolution 2023-03. Shannon?
Yes. We do like to receive donations, and we did receive 2 donations between our last meeting and today. One was a $100 donation from Sarah Loeffler, and another was a $50 donation from Cindy Olmstead. You might recognize Cindy's name. She's a former employee here. She worked here for about 14 years. So we thought that one was special as well. So we would recommend approval of a resolution accepting these donations, and we will send out thank you notes.
Alrighty, looking for a motion to accept the donations. Oh, good, we got that. Any discussion?
Second. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're good.
Okay, no discussion then? All right, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Next item, approval of CCX Media bylaws.
All right, the commission updated their bylaws this spring. If you remember, we went through that process. And in June, the CCX Media Board of Directors Executive Committee asked our attorney to review and possibly rewrite our bylaws, which I think were from 2003. And so the executive committee reviewed a draft of the bylaws at their meeting in September. We made a few suggestions and recommended approval. That draft is before you for approval. Mr. Bradley, is there anything you'd like to add to the process or what we have?
No, I think that's the process. So we're recommending approval of the bylaws. We did notice that there was a change that needs to be made. Sometimes there's reference to a chair and vice chair, and that should be president and vice president instead of chair and vice chair. So we'll make that change for sure.
All right, is there any discussion, any questions? Yes.
Do have questions, just for clarification, the version in the packet is not the same as the version that just a day or two ago? So we're talking about the second transmission, right?
What's in the packet is up for approval. The one I sent a few days ago was the draft from June that was reviewed by the executive committee.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? All right, I'd look for a motion to approve the CCX Media bylaws with the stated changes.
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion's been moved and seconded. Any additional conversation? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Great, motion passes. Next agenda item, approval of the CCX Media budget.
All right, you have a copy of the 2024 CCX Media budget in your packet. And just like the commission budget, it also remains unchanged from the September general meeting. The main source of revenue for CCX Media is a transfer in from the commission. The budget does include a 3% increase in salaries, as well as transitioning city council programming on the web from Granicus to Cablecast. If this is approved, we will jump right into that timeline of working with our cities over the next 13 months to make that transition as smooth as possible. We do anticipate meeting with cities before the end of the year just to kick off that process and what it will look like. The CCX Media Board of Directors Executive Committee and staff do recommend approval of the budget.
All right, thank you. Is there any questions? Seeing no questions, looking for a motion to approve the CCX Media budget as proposed.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, motion and seconded. Any additional conversation? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. On to the next area, under informational items, anniversary of CCX Media staff members. I believe that's you, Shannon.
Yes. We usually recommend or recognize commission members and board members at this meeting every year, but we don't have a commission or board member celebrating an anniversary in a 5-year increment, but we do have staff members who are. So we do want to say thank you to Brenda Lynch, who's a city council director, and Dustin Paulson, a sports and events crew member who have been with us for 5 years. Hitting the 10-year mark, several folks that work on the sports and events crew. These are folks that go out and broadcast games. They run cables, they run cameras, they work in the truck, graduations, parades, so they're out in the community in all sorts of weather. So we have Chris Hulkgren, Jeremy Millington, and Alex Smith. So thank you to those folks. And the next person just keeps sticking around. This is me. I've been here 15 years. I started as a freelance reporter, and I am very thankful and lucky to still be here and dedicated to the organization. Hitting the 20-year mark, we have Ben Kroll, who is our chief photographer. So we have this picture of him out in the field. He's covered all sorts of stories around the Northwest Metro. Ben is very talented, and so we are thankful that he chose us and he continues to choose us. And then another fixture around here, Jay Wilcox, hit 35 years this year. And Jay and John both have tracked so many athletes that have come through this area. And if you ever ride in a parade in a CCX Media car, the number one question you will get is, where's John and Jay? So everybody knows John and Jay and appreciates them. So thank you to Jay Wilcox as well. Staff members will receive a plaque for their service.
Wonderful. That's not really an actionable item, so we'll go on to staff reports.
Sure. Staff reports are going to be just a little bit different this time around. We do have our traditional staff reports in your packet that's full of information, and I hope you read through all of it and check it out. But I thought we would do a little bit of show and tell, and we would show a little bit of videos, and we would basically hit the highlights. I'm going to begin with, you probably know this, today is Give to the Max Day, and our creative services led a multi-department team to really put a little bit more effort and time into our Give to the Max Day ask this year. We launched this on Community Media Day, which was October 20th, and we worked with different departments to produce a series of videos. We'll show a clip of one now. These videos have a dual purpose. One, it's a chance to promote what we do, put it out on social media, put it out in email. This one is one, if it will play, that shows all the city meetings that we cover. We cover over 400 city meetings every year. You guys can kill the audio.
400 city meetings every year.
Because I was planning on talking over all of these for you, but we tried to get in all city halls to make this 30-second promotional video. So not only did this go out and give some people a chance to learn more about us in their inboxes and on social media, but it also refreshed our promotions on our channel. And so this is one. If you guys want to go ahead and run the next one. We also did a 60-minute time lapse of a parade setup, and we chose Plymouth because Plymouth has one of the longest cable runs of anything that we do. And so we wanted to show our crew and all the work that they do running cables and broadcasting parades. So this is just a glimpse of what we do. We did put these videos on our channel, social media, and we also sent them out in Constant Contact updates, and I wanted to mention that as well. If you're not signed up for Constant Contact, this is our email subscription service. You can go to our website, click in the top corner on subscribe, and then you can curate the news that you want to see in your inbox. If you just want to see news from Golden Valley, if you just want to see news from the Osseo School District or sports, you can do that as well. So here's a picture of what went out this morning for Constant Contact subscribers. So we urge you to sign up and check that out. The next video clip that I want to show you is from new video that's been captured by our brand new cameras. New cameras were approved in 2022 for the 2023 budget. That was it, guys. It was a long process to
Short
get
videos.
We're getting them. It's great video. It was a long process to get these cameras rolled out. They had to be calibrated, and then we just had to get them in the building because there's a delay on everything. The sports photographers and the photographers that use these have told me this video is crisp, it is clear, it is great for shooting nighttime video, or think about like dimly lit stages, like a high school theatrical production. It does a really great job with those. An ironic thing is, you might remember this summer we were in a drought and we had these cameras waiting on them to get in. The week that we rolled out the new cameras is also the week it rained, and so we also got to test out all our new rain gear, so to speak. While we did roll out new cameras, we did not purchase new tripods. We're trying to get a little more life out of those. They're 13 years old, but could be coming soon to a budget near you. Up next, we're going to have our Sports and Events Director, John Jacobson, share a little bit about sports sponsorships. Mr. Jacobson.
Thank you, Shannon, and good morning, everyone. One of the things we've done the last few years is try to get some money coming in for the money that's going out when we get to section tournament play. When we get to these playoff games, the sections that we cover teams in will charge a rights fee in order for us, in exchange for us doing the games live. Their theory is that we're doing the game on TV, we're streaming it, people aren't going to go to the game and watch, so they're losing ticket revenue. Well, whether or not that's valid, I don't know, but we've tried to make that argument, but it's sometimes fallen on deaf ears. So rather than just writing out a check every time, what we've tried to do is get sponsors to cover that fee. So at least it's a zero cost to us. So this fall, we want to thank Malone's Bar and Grill in Maple Grove and Chanticleer Pizza in Maple Grove, having a student that's gone through Maple Grove. They're great supporters of local high school sports, not just Maple Grove. Frankie's Pizza and Papa's Cafe, both of New Hope, helped us televise a live Cooper Armstrong playoff football game last month. And then the Wayzata Athletic Booster Club picked up the tab for us to do some live soccer coverage last month, and District 281 as well, along with Frankie's and Papa's, helped us cover the $600 live stream fee for that 6AA football game, Armstrong and Cooper. So this is kind of a gateway into what we hope will be a bigger thing going forward, trying to get sponsors more for our regular season games even, to just cover some of our production costs. As it does cost money to go out and do these games. We want to acknowledge all of these people and this district for helping us with that money. It's not insignificant. I guess, probably $1,200, math in my head quick, about $1,800 that they covered total. So it's a start of something, and so we appreciate them.
Thank you. And if you visit these businesses, please say thank you for us and recognize this donation. And if you have other businesses who might be interested in supporting CCX Media through a sports sponsorship, please let us know. Thank you, Mr. Jacobson. Up next, this might be old news by now, but from the news department, Delane, Adam, and I got to get dressed up and go to the Emmy Gala in mid-October. We kind of dressed alike, we didn't mean to. And we sat at the back of the room where they usually put community television stations and public television stations, because we don't win that often, but we had a good night. I'm really proud of our nominations and the categories that we received them in. I did want to review those. We received one in the diversity, equity, and inclusion category, in education, schools, and in writing. And I also wanted to recognize Adam Jukala. I asked him to be here today. Adam, I won't ask you to speak, but there's good lighting and a camera shot by the microphone. So can you stand there? So I wanted to recognize Adam and tell you a little bit of a story about him. You might not realize, but entering the Emmys is a lot of strategy. You have to make sure you're entering the right category with the right piece. You have to consider who you're up against. So it's not something we go at willy-nilly. But Adam has been a pusher, and he has been an advocate for really looking and studying the categories, and he would come to my office about every day, and he would say, Shannon, I think we need to enter this story in this category. And I'd be like, no, I don't think so. What about this? So we would watch the story, we would review the description, we would look at past winners, and we would debate, and he would leave, promising to be back again tomorrow. So after a little bit of back and forth, I said, you know what, Adam? Let's try it. So we entered the education schools category and the DEI category strictly because Adam pushed it. So Adam, I just wanted to say in front of everybody that you were right, and I have never been so happy to be wrong. So thank you. Adam's been with us a little over a year, and we're thankful for your passion and what you bring to the table. Thank you very much.
That's nice to hear.
And I also wanted to show a little video clip. The Monday after we won the trophy, we went back to the elementary school. And this is Mike, who is the volunteer and subject of the story, and he had no idea. He was so excited. He carried that trophy around the school and told teachers, like, pick it up, see how heavy it is. We didn't think we were going to win, but we won. That might have been one of the best moments of my career, because he was just so proud of that trophy, and that kind of made it all worth it. So if you had a chance to see the story, it's a really good story. Go check it out. And two more things. Wanted to show a little bit of video that's equally as thrilling. I was talking to someone at one of our sister stations in South Washington County, and I learned they had an interior drone. And I immediately came back and looked at our list of city videos that we had on the list to to complete. And I was like, what would be the coolest thing that we have that would be really neat to fly an interior drone around in? And this was the winner, the New Hope Ice Arena. So this is what I would like to call an everything but the kitchen sink production. Usually our cities crew just produces the videos for our cities, but we were like, how can we work across departments, really throw everything we've got at this, and the drone video that we contracted out is just one thing. Adam was the director of photography to really challenge our photographers. What have you seen at other stations around the country that we could do here for this piece? What kind of equipment can we use? What tactics can we use? We're still putting this together, but we were fortunate to really get all access. We saw in the bowels of the building and everything else on a busy Saturday, so we're really excited about this piece. And please go back and tell your cities, if you've got a great video opportunity that we can come around with some creativity, maybe it's a neat video opportunity like this, or maybe it's just a concept that you need to communicate in a creative and interesting way to tell your residents about something. Please let us know. Let us think about it. Let us noodle it around and see what we can come up with, because when we all come together for a challenge, we can produce some really neat stuff. So hopefully this one will be done in early December. And finally, one last thing, something equally thrilling. I wanted to highlight someone in our audience. Right there, Kevin Vandenberg. This is a photo of Kevin, he didn't know this was coming, standing beside his latest handiwork, which is a wood panel that conceals what was once a gaping 3-foot hole in the control desk. I'm told Kevin made this panel out of his own money. He brought in his own tools, and he was here for a few hours making sure everything worked correctly. He's got a title with the TriCaster. I would just say it's an expert, but it's high up there. So we're lucky to have his expertise as well. But what I really love about this is he did this not just for his own productions that he works on, but it's something that benefits the CCX Create community at large. So thank you for using your time, talents, and treasures for us. So that is everything I have for staff reports, Mr. Chair.
Okay, moving on to the next agenda item. Is there any other business that comes before the commission today? All right, hearing none, I just want to point out that through the approval of the CCX Media bylaws, there is some new rules of order that are going to be instituted at the next meeting. They're included in your packet, so it's going to be a little different than what probably many of us have been used to. They're formulated by the Minnesota Mayors Association. Their inclusion was intentional and deliberate, because if anybody knows much about Robert's Rules of Order, but like maybe this much applies to us, so we wanted to try to find something that was a little bit more appropriate regarding the decorum of our meeting. So I think everybody probably received the digital packet that had it in, and then the rules are in this packet as well, along with a little cheat sheet, if you will. So so make sure that you're all ready for that, and then also be patient, because I've never used them before either. And you know, as you know, going through these meetings, some things just become very automatic. So just bear with us. Anything else? Hearing none, entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, thank you for that. I thought we were going to stay here all day. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nay. All right, good.